Today, we're going to take a journey, a 100-year journey to be exact, to answer a really simple question. What was a dollar actually worth back in the day? The answer, it turns out, tells the story of America itself.
Okay, so imagine for a second you could step into a time machine. The world you'd step out into would look different, sound different, and you can bet it would cost different. The real question isn't just where you'd go, but when.
So let's start with something super simple, something we all know: a loaf of bread. Its price tag can tell us a huge story about a whole era. So what's your guess? Got a number in your head? Okay, hold on to that thought.
All right, our journey begins in the year 1900. You have to picture it. America was a totally different place, mostly rural, powered by steam and horses, and just on the edge of some massive, massive changes.
This number right here, this is the key to understanding everything else. $450. That was the average income for an entire year. Not a month, a whole year. I mean, let that sink in. That breaks down to about $37 a month. So what on earth could you buy with that?
So with that $37 a month in your pocket, let's go on a quick little shopping trip to the turn of the century. And trust me, the prices are probably going to shock you.
And there's our answer. A loaf of bread would set you back a nickel. Just 5 cents. You could buy 20 loaves for a single dollar. Pretty wild, right?
A gallon of milk? That'll be 14 cents. You can really start to see how every single penny was accounted for back then.
Now, let's look at the big ticket items. Renting a house for the month, $12. Buying a brand new home, $2,500. Now, I know these numbers seem tiny, but remember, when your income is just a little over $1 a day, you can see how every single penny counted.
But things were about to change. And I mean fast. The Roaring '20s came along, and it was like the whole country came alive with jazz, mass production, and this feeling of unstoppable prosperity.
So yeah, prices went up. Bread almost doubled to 9 cents. But look at what else was going on. For the first time, entertainment like a movie ticket was actually affordable at a quarter. And a car, the Ford Model T, a total game changer, was suddenly within reach for many families. People felt richer because their money could just buy more stuff.
But you know how it goes. Every boom can face a bust. After the dizzying highs of the 20s, America was about to walk into one of its darkest economic times, only to come out the other side into an era of incredible growth.
The Great Depression hit right after the stock market crash of 1929. Now, you might think, hey, falling prices, that's a good thing. But here's the devastating catch. Prices only fell because millions of people had lost their jobs and literally had no money to spend on anything.
And this visual just hits you right in the gut. Average wages didn't just dip, they plummeted by a staggering 40%. Can you even imagine your paycheck getting cut almost in half overnight? That was the reality for millions of people.
So how did people survive this? Well, they got incredibly resourceful. They planted victory gardens to grow their own food, they shared whatever they had with their neighbors, and they lived by a waste not, want not philosophy. It was an era of just unbelievable hardship, but also amazing community resilience.
After the Second World War, it was like the whole country took a collective breath, and the pendulum swung hard in the other direction. The economy just roared back to life, soldiers came home, and a brand new era of consumer culture completely exploded. And you can see it in the prices of the 1950s. A suburban home for $7,000. Gas at 27 cents a gallon. This wasn't just about new prices. This was the birth of the American suburb, the birth of a whole new standard of living for the middle class. But that post-war dream came with a pretty steep price tag. The next couple of decades would see all that stability get challenged by soaring inflation right before the dawn of a digital age came and changed the economy all over again.
If there was one word that defined the 1970s, it was inflation. And nothing showed that more clearly than the price at the gas pump. Because of the oil crises, the price of gasoline more than doubled in just a few years, leading to these crazy long lines and a real sense of national anxiety.
And the pain wasn't just at the pump. Believe me, it was everywhere. The cost of a new house ballooned to 55 grand. Our simple loaf of bread was suddenly almost 50 cents. For the first time in a generation, a lot of Americans felt like their paychecks were actually shrinking.
So, the 1980s were all about taming that runaway inflation. And once that stability was back, it really set the stage for the 1990s and the birth of the digital age.
All of a sudden, you have personal computers, the internet, and a brand new economy being built which led us straight into the modern consumer world we know. So, after flying through 100 years of prices, what's the big story here? What does this whole journey actually teach us about how the American economy works?
So what does it all mean? Well, when you zoom out, the story of the 20th century is actually one of incredible progress. Yeah, there were busts, but the booms were bigger, and wages ultimately grew way faster than prices. Technology, from the Model T to the microchip, was a total game changer. And those really tough times, like the Depression and the 70s inflation, they left a permanent mark, changing how generations of Americans thought about money.
And all of this leaves us with one final thought. 100 years from now, when someone looks back at our grocery bills, our housing costs, our paychecks, what story are those numbers going to tell about us?